Hello and welcome back, audience. My name is MassiveBrad and welcome back to my FIFA 19 Southampton career mode. Now, before we get into today's episode, I just want to say a huge big thank you for love and support on the channel. And as always, guys, at the start of today's episode, we're quickly going to look at the games that lie ahead in today's episode. We got Plymouth up next in the replay of the FA Cup. Sadly, in the last episode, it was a simulated game. We were winning 1-0 until the 90th minute, and Plymouth somehow managed to get a goal back. We did sadly then go on to draw that game 1-1, so we have the replay up first in the FA Cup as the first game in today's episode. We then face off against Everton at home in the Premier League. We then have the second leg against Wolves in the Carabao Cup semi-finals, which we are currently sadly 1-0 down to. Unfortunately, Angus Gunn did make a little bit of a big mistake, come out for the ball, didn't get it, clattered with some of our players, and the Wolves man headed home to make it 1-0. Apart from that, we played really well on the day. It was just a shame that Angus Gunn did make a little bit of a mistake, didn't get the ball, and we did suffer a loss in the first leg against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And then the last game in today's episode is going to be Crystal Palace at home in the Premier League. And then, of course, we will be finishing off the January transfer window. I cannot believe we are on episode 9 already. That is absolutely unbelievable. But the plan for today's episode is we will be simulating the game against Plymouth, we will be simulating the game against Everton, and then we'll be playing the last two games against Wolves and Palace in the Premier League. Now, the reason we're continuing to simulate the game against Plymouth is because we've said we're not going to start playing in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup until we get to the round of 16. We're then gonna play the game in the round of 16. We'll then play the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and hopefully also the final. That's exactly what we've done in the Carabao Cup. We got to the point of the round of 16, and then we started playing it. So we're only in the round 2 or 3 right now of the FA Cup, which is why we're going to continue to simulate it. If we sadly get knocked out, we get knocked out. If we manage to get through, great. We'll continue to simulate until we get to that round of 16, and then we can start getting a little bit more serious about it and trying to win a piece of silverware. Everton are normally a team that I really wouldn't want to simulate, but right now Crystal Palace are actually doing a lot better than Everton, so I've decided because we're at home and it's against Everton, we are going to simulate that game. And then, of course, we're 1-0 down to Wolves in the semi-finals, so we have to play that game and hopefully bag the win and get through to the final of the Carabao Cup. And then Crystal Palace, as I was just saying about Everton, Crystal Palace are higher up than Everton, and because we're at home as well, I think that's the better game to play. We then, of course, will be doing the last 10 hours on the January transfer deadline day on the 31st. And unfortunately, guys, I may as well start this off with a little bit of a mistake, a little bit of a rookie move by me. In the UK, we've just currently had a bank holiday, which means I was off Saturday, Sunday, and also the Monday. So what I decided to do was get a little bit ahead of myself with a few of these videos. Now, you guys will have already seen episode 7. I've just edited episode 8, but I'm now recording episode 9 before episode 8 has gone up. Now, episode 7 and 8 we're going to include the straw poll, which I'll put on screen right now. So you guys are seeing the straw poll right now, and this was about which ex-Southampton player should we bring back in this career mode. Now, I wanted to make sure you guys had voted on it. A few of you have voted, so thank you to the guys that did vote. A lot of you have only voted from episode 7. The reason for that is because episode 8 is not up, so I was going to have it in episode 7 and 8. You guys were going to vote, and then I'd record episode 9, which is this one, and we'd have a better idea of who's going to win. Luckily enough, right now, as a glimpse over at the screen, there is an out-and-out winner, and that is Dusan Tadic on 8 votes. We've got second position Adam Lallana on 4 votes, Sadio Mane on 1 vote, Oxlade-Chamberlain on 1 vote, and Gaston Ramirez also on 1 vote. So Dusan Tadic will be the player that we go for in today's episode. If we don't manage to get him, we'll move down to Lallana. If we don't manage to get him, then we go down to either Mane, Chamberlain, or Gaston Ramirez, in which then I will make the choice out of those 3 players which one we go for. But we won't be doing that till the transfer deadline day. And the reason for that is not all the players right now are fully scouted. So Dusan Tadic, I don't think is scouted. Lallana's scouted, I think. Mane's already scouted anyway. Chamberlain and Gaston Ramirez are not scouted. So we're going to leave it a little bit later into today's episode. And we'll just go and take a look, actually, if any of these players have actually moved clubs. So Dusan Tadic at Ajax, overall 84, currently sat at... So I was about to say currently sat at 26 million valuation, but it says there the player has recently just joined the club and won't move again. Okay, so I'm guessing unless we try and loan. No, the club isn't interested to loan the player. Okay, so Dusan Tadic is going to be a problem unless we can raise funds of 37.8 million and then activate his release clause, which, to be fair, we're like 12 million away from that, and I'm not sure what player we would sell to get that 12 million. And maybe we'll go and have a little look off camera in a moment, guys, at what player we can maybe sell and try and raise 12, 13 million to bring Dusan Tadic in, as he is the highest rated or highest voted player on the straw poll. If we move down to the next one, which is Adam Lallana, if we move down the list, he's moved. Eintracht Frankfurt, he's moved. He's already gone. When we put him on the list, he was still at Liverpool. He's now at Frankfurt. There's nothing we can do there. He's only just recently joined. I doubt we're going to be able to loan him. Oh, well, this is a bunch of fun, isn't it? The top two players you guys have voted for, sadly, right now, we can't get either. Moving down, we got Mane. Mane's going to be too expensive, realistically, isn't he? How much is Mane? 47.5. We have to offer between 74.9 and 130 mil. His release clause is 87.9, basically 88 million. There's no chance of Mane. The Ox and Ramirez. So let's take a look at the Ox. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. We haven't got his full scout yet, so we don't know his weekly wage, if he's got a release clause, we don't know his overall. We don't know enough about the player, but he's currently valued at 20 million, so he would not be a bad shout as well, to be honest, guys, because he plays centre mid plus right mid. So we could really rotate a lot with Genipo out on that right mid. We've then got 2 or 3 centre midfielders that we can play now. And then we'd have El Yunusi and Redmond. Ox could be a good shout to come in and play at right mid. The other man is Gaston Ramirez, who can only play central attacking midfielder. Luckily enough, we can buy both the Ox and Gaston Ramirez. Ramirez at Sampdoria, we have to offer between 9.5 and 14 mil, so we should have no problem getting him. We've got all the information other than the overall on him, so we'll have to get that later in today's episode. The Ox, still need a little bit more information. The Ox is going to cut it fine. He's valued at 20 mil, which makes me think we're probably going to have to offer 25, 26 million in order to attempt Liverpool at selling the Ox, and we just don't have that funds right now. So I might just start getting into this game, and at some point between playing all the 4 games in today's episode, I'll quickly have a look at maybe seeing a player that doesn't really get in the team that we can maybe free up and get some funds from, and then we can potentially look at bringing either the Ox or Gaston Ramirez in. If we could get the funds and get it up, we may also be able to get Dusan Tadic in, who was top with 8 votes. We could get him in by activating his release clause, but we'll have to see what players we can sell. But up next, we've got Plymouth in the FA Cup. It's a replay after we sadly only managed a 1-1 draw. Hopefully we'll turn up and do a much better job this time. We do have 3 players in Lautaro Martinez, Højbjerg and Bertrand that aren't fully fit, but I'm putting them out there. The good players, the high rated, and with us simulating the game, we need to be playing a high rated team and hope to get that win. But we've got Lautaro Martinez and Danny Ings up top in the striker positions. El Yunusi, Højbjerg, Ward-Prowse and Josh Sims in the midfield, with Bertrand at Vestergaard, Danso and Mele at the back, and Angus Gunn between the sticks. We simulated it in the last episode and only managed a 1-1 draw. We did go 1-0 up. Sadly, they scored in the 90th minute. Hopefully, we don't get the same replay and we do a job over Plymouth this time round. Players warming up and we are kicked off. 7 minutes in, 10 minutes in, nothing happened just yet. Come on, lads, I want an early goal. I'd like to go in here at half time, 2-0 up. 30 minutes in, only Carey picking up a yellow card for Plymouth. Come on, lads. We should be absolutely battering these. In the 44th minute, Martinez scores. We're into the second half. El Yunusi's found the second in the 49th. I'm pretty sure if we find a third in the next 10 minutes or so, this game should be put to bed. With only 10 minutes to go, I can't see Plymouth coming back. Moore picks up an injury in the 82nd, and Riley had to come on for him. Hopefully it's not too serious. But we do go on to beat Plymouth in this simulated game 2-0. We bag ourselves a place in the next round of the FA Cup, and that is a perfect start to today's episode. Right, guys, so before we get into this game against Everton, we are at home. We're at the St Mary's Stadium. It's an important one to win right now because sadly in the last episode, after suffering a loss, we did drop down 3 points behind Liverpool, so we are now sat in 3rd position. We're not joint second anymore. We're 6 points ahead of Palace, City and Burnley, which puts us in a great position. But really, we want to make sure we're keeping up with Liverpool. Spurs right now are already 5 points ahead of us with a game in hand, which means they can push that to 8 points clear on us. They would push it a little bit further for the likes of Palace, City and Burnley. And realistically, I'm just not sure any of them are going to catch. I honestly believe only ourselves and Liverpool have got any chance of catching Spurs in the Premier League right now. But before we get into this game against Everton, just want to let you guys know that obviously, with Dusan Tadic coming top of the straw poll with 8 votes, he's my main target. He's the one we've got to try and buy in. And basically, we need to raise the funds of however much he was worth. Was it 38 million or something? Which puts us a little bit far out, if I'm completely honest. We're about 15 million away from getting to that 38 mil. Plus, we still then have to be able to have his wage to be able to pay him weekly. So what I've actually done is, Might be a little bit out of the blue, but I've listed Fraser Forrester, I think that's his name, or Forrester the goalkeeper. I've also listed McCarthy the goalkeeper, and also I think his name was Harrison Reed. He plays centre mid and also right mid. I've listed those 3 players, which if we were to move them on and get a little bit more than what they're actually valued at, could well give us the funds to be able to buy Dusan Tadic. But let me just go and check. Wait, there he is, second on the list. Was it 30? So it's 37. It's basically 38 million. So we are 15 million behind being able to pay his release clause. I personally think bringing Dusan Tadic back would be a great member to come back to the Saints team. Whether we're going to manage to get that 15 million, I'm not too sure. If we don't, if we still raise a little bit of funds, we can still look at the likes of Oxlade-Chamberlain or Gaston Ramirez. We can afford Gaston Ramirez quite easily right now. As for the Ox, they're probably going to want 25, 26, so we are probably 3 or 4 million short right now. So it's definitely worth listing a couple of these players to hopefully bring a little bit of funds in, and then potentially we can sign either the Ox or more the fact I'd like to get Dusan Tadic back to Southampton if possible. But up next we've got Everton. It's another simulated game, and this is the lineup we are putting out. We've had to rotate it quite a bit. There's a few big names coming back into the team, unfortunately. The likes of Vestergaard's had them in drop. Bednarek has to be dropped. They're just not fully fit. Redmond at left back. It's a shame because it's a big game against Everton. We really need to get this win. But by rotating the team, we keep it nice and fresh. We don't have to worry too much about injuries. Obviously, Danny Ings is a bit of a problem now. I hope that the second assistant manager is going to take Ings off at some point. But we are going with Che Adams and Danny Ings up top in the striker positions. Redmond, Romeo, Ward-Prowse and Genepo in the midfield. Taylor, Yoshida, Stevens and Mailer at the back with Angus Gunn between the sticks. It's the second game in today's episode. We just won our first one 2-0. Can we get the same sort of result? It's another simulated game. Players warming up. It'd be great if we could do over Everton. And the referee has blown his whistle and we are kicked off. 10 minutes in. Nothing happened in the first 10 minutes or the 20 minutes. Adams picks up a yellow card in the 21st. Gomez has just scored in the 22nd minute for Everton. Adams then scores. Che Adams scores back in the 40th minute. Obafemi has come on for Danny Ings, which is exactly what I wanted. I didn't want Danny Ings playing the full amount of time, the 90 minutes. Obafemi comes on and scores. Romeo's picked up an injury there where Lamina has had to come on, for Romeo in the same minute, which makes me worry that Romeo's injury is probably going to be a little bit of a bad one. But the referee goes on to blow his full-time whistle. We have just played 2 simulated games at the start of today's episode. We won the first one against Plymouth 2-0. We've now just beaten Southampton 2-1. Absolutely unbelievable result to get against Everton. And it looks like that was the right move because I was potentially going to play that game and simulate the one against Palace. Now we get to get hands-on against Wolves and Palace. So I think the 2 games I picked to simulate in today's episode were definitely the right move. We just have to keep our fingers crossed Romeo's injury isn't too much of a nasty one. So we're going into this game now 1-0 down, no thanks to a mistake from Angus Gunn in the first leg against Wolves. So no matter what, we're going to have to score 2 goals in this second and final leg in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup against Wolverhampton Wanderers. It's going to be a difficult game, but I'm hopeful we can get that very important win. The next thing I was going to talk about, which has already popped up as a subject or an article, is Southampton's Romeo set out for 3 months on the sidelines. Which, bear in mind, guys, we are coming to the end of January in today's episode, which leaves us with February, March, and April. So in the 3 months, he might be back a little bit sooner. They're going to try their best, but 3 months, it's pretty much put him out near enough for the rest of the season, which is a little bit of a bummer. It really is, because he's been a massive player in this team. He's really helped out breaking up the play. We are going to miss him massively, but we have to move on and we have to work with what we've got. It now puts me in a situation where Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is definitely the better player to be coming in. He can play centre mid, so he can help out now Romeo's out. He can also play right mid to help out with Genepo. I know obviously Dusan Tadic is going to be the main target, but just in case we don't manage to get Dusan Tadic, the Ox is a must. We have to get him. Now, while I was advancing to the Wolves game, I noticed something. We were planning on ending the January transfer window in today's episode. We're actually not anymore, because we've had another game thrown in there, which is an FA Cup game against Bournemouth, which means when we finish today's episode, we're only actually going to be on the 27th, which means we will be finishing the January transfer window in the month of, in the episode 10. Now, the situation with this is obviously I didn't want to start playing in the FA Cup until we were in the round of 16. I have no choice now because we've already simulated the 2 games against Everton and Plymouth, which means the next 2 games I have to play. It's a shame that it's not the Palace game and we've had an extra game thrown in there at the end of January. But it is what it is. So we're going to be playing the second leg against Wolves. And we're going to be playing against Bournemouth in the FA Cup. Which means we don't necessarily have to end, or we won't be, should I say. We won't be ending the January transfer in today's episode. Now, I'm going to talk you guys through this because I'm not sure what we should do over this situation. When I went through the list of listing like Fraser Forrester, Alex McCarthy, and also Harrison Reed, I noticed that when we look at the financial side of it and the values of these players, we've got 3.2, so let's say 3 million plus 5 million, so we're at 8 million now. If we go down to Harrison Reed, where is Harrison Reed? There we go, Harrison Reed. Currently 3 million if we round it down. So we're sat about 11 million, but I'd probably get 13 or 14 million, so we wouldn't be far off. But what I did realise with this Saints team is we've got a lot of players out on loan that are worth quite a bit of money. So I'm going to ask you guys now, because we could always look at doing it in the next episode, should I bring some of these players back? So take their loan, bring them back from loan, and then look at selling them. So for example, Cedric is loaned out to Inter Milan right now, currently valued at 7 million. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. I'm going to go with Hode. I mean, I'd have to listen to it online, but Wesley Hode, currently valued at 7 million, loaned out to, I do believe that's Celta Vigo. If we go a little bit further down the list, we have Hesketh, he's only 1 million, that's fine. Johnson's 450k, that's fine. Stephen Davis valued at 2 million. Jordi Classy at Fenoid in the Eredivisie, currently valued at 7 million. If we keep going down the list, Boufal, loaned out to Celta Vigo, currently 13.5 million. Keep going down the list a little bit more. Carrillo, loaned out, currently valued at 6.5 million. And I'm thinking, hold your horses a minute. Just between Boufal at 13.5 and Jordi Classy, we've got 20 million there. So why don't we just bring them back from loan and try and sell them in order to then bring in Tadic, and maybe we'd have enough funds to then also bring in Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to pay if I want to recall. Yes, so it is going to cost me just over £500,000. It could be a risk if we aren't to sell these players, but I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to wait for you guys to leave a comment down below. Let me know, do you think we should bring these players back in episode 10? We would then have around 5 or 6 days till the end of the January transfer window before it closes. Do you think it's possible we bring these players back from loan and we could maybe look at selling them? Now, if we didn't get to sell them, we bring Jordi Classy back, that's fine. He can take over from Romeo and play in the midfield for us. And as for Boufal, he can play on the left mid, which means we would then look at playing El Yunusi and Boufal as the left mid, and then we'd switch Redmond to the right mid as a backup or to rotate with Genepo. So we could bring these players back and we don't get to move them on, but it wouldn't be the end of the world because we'd then just switch them out and play them in positions that really we need players right now. So we'll go ahead and leave it there at the moment. If we can move on Forrester, McCarthy and Reed, great. It'll put us a bit closer to getting Dusan Tadic. But if we don't, I've just give you guys another opportunity to potentially bring some players back, sell them on, and try and get the funds to make sure we bring in Dusan Tadic as well, potentially, as Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, if we do manage to move these players on and make a little bit of money. But the lineup we are putting out against Wolves in this second leg of the Carabao Cup is Lautaro Martinez up top with Che Adams, Nathan Redmond, Højbjerg, Ward-Prowse and Genepo in the midfield, Taylor, Vestergaard, Bednarek and Valerie at the back, with Angus Gunn between the sticks. Now, we've won the first 2 games in today's episode. We won the game against Plymouth and we beat them 2-0. We just played Everton and beat them 2-1. We're currently 1-0 down on aggregate from the first leg. So we need to score goals. Most importantly, we also need to make sure we don't concede anymore. But the one thing I do remember about Wolves is I was putting a lot of crosses in, a lot of through balls over the top. The height doesn't work. Wolves have got some big players, Connor Cody, Bolly, real tall defenders that are going to cause us problems if we're trying to put the ball in the air. So the aim and game plan for this game at St Mary's Stadium against Wolves is to keep it low, pass nice and quick, and try and get in behind the Wolverhampton Wanderers defenders. Come on, lads, we've got to bounce back from this first leg. 1-0 down was not good enough. It wasn't anything to do with how we played. It was a simple mistake of me bringing Angus Gunn out from a corner. Brought him out to collect the ball. He got mixed up between Bednarek and Vestergaard. Missed the ball as he tried to punch it. And the Wolves man was there to head it home. Not much we could have done in that situation. Players to watch: Lautaro Martinez and João Moutinho for Wolverhampton Wanderers. I'm hoping Lautaro Martinez is going to get on the score sheet in this game against Wolves, but we are 1-0 down. Hopefully by half time we'll either be in the lead or at least have pulled it back to 1-1 as we get this first half kicked off with Lautaro Martinez. Over to Valerie, going to lose it now to Dendoncker. That's going to be a problem. Coming across now to try and get in the way. Big save there from Angus Gunn. We're through now to Genepo. Nicely done, straight up the line to Ward-Prowse. Let's play it in behind now if Che Adams wants to go. Hopefully Che Adams through on goal here. Che Adams to slot home. He has done. Well, it took us 40 minutes to finally break down the Wolves' defence. But a beautiful ball through from Ward-Prowse to Che Adams, who was on the shoulder of the last defender. He managed to wiggle himself a little bit of space, get away from the defender. And calm and collected, he slots that one home. Very well taken goal there on his right boot, outside of the boot. And he slots it home to put us back in this game. It's 1-1 and it was only 4 minutes before half time. Let's just make sure here, lads, we get in at half time. Still 1-1. We don't want to risk losing a goal here, so let's just pass it around nicely. And there we go, as Adams collects the ball. The referee is going to blow his half time whistle. We're back in this game, luckily enough. If we'd have been going in still 1-0 down, I would have been a little bit worried. Somehow we've managed to only have 2 shots, not on target, but we put 1 in the back of the net. Not sure how that works. Wolves have 1 shot, 1 on target. We've had more of the ball than Wolves. We're certainly, I would say now, in the better position to go on and push on to potentially win this game. But I think it all depends on the next 10-15 minutes. If we score, great. If we don't, we're seriously going to have to look at changing this game plan up. It's back to Doherty. That ball's eventually going to come in. Valerie was there for that one. Ball into the middle. Raul Jimenez rattles the crossbar. Here's Taylor. Taylor through now to Vestergaard. We've lost the ball to Dembele. That's a problem. Big save there from Angus Gunn. Well, he made a mistake in the first leg. He's made up for it there as I done an absolutely shocking pass trying to find Vestergaard. El Yanusi's going to lose it. Eventually going now to Lautaro Martinez. Here's Che Adams over the top now. Looking for Josh Sims, who's getting in behind. Here comes Josh Sims fighting for it. Referee! It's going to be a penalty. The new man that's just come in this January transfer window, Patrick Van Aanholt from Crystal Palace to Wolves, has given away a penalty. Come on, lads. Who have we got on this one? Who will be taking it? It's Ward-Prowse to step up and hopefully rocket this one home. Ward-Prowse steps up. Top right corner. Ward-Prowse, it's saved. Keep the pressure on here. And there we go. Referee is going to go for full time. 90 minutes is not enough. We're going to extra time and then potentially to penalties. I'd like to finish this in extra time from the stats. Wolves have been the better team. We are very lucky to still be in this game after pulling it back 1-0, which took us to 1-1 over the 2 legs. We're very lucky to still be in this game. We're going to hope we get a little bit of luck on our side as Che Adams gets us kicked off in the second half. 1 minute added on in this first extra part of extra time. It's not going to happen after 15 minutes. Again, we look certainly the better team. I'm not sure whether now we've gone past the 90 minutes. Do we have an extra sub to bring on like Lamina for Ward-Prowse? No, what are the subs? I know in some competitions when you go into extra time you can then make an extra sub. We unfortunately can't bring Ward-Prowse off for Mario Lamina. So we're going to have to do with what we've got right now. This doesn't put us in a great position though. The fact we've got Che Adams and Lautaro Martinez, our main 2 strikers still on the pitch. Let's keep the pressure on here. Keep the pressure on it. Dendoncker, he's going to look at shooting maybe. He's going to pull it back. Oh, we get a block off. Get another block off. It's going to fall to him. Diego Jota scores.
Well, it's all about keeping a clean sheet now. They give themselves a little bit of breathing room. Got a great chance of going.
Oh, Diego Jota, the man that we were maybe going to look at bringing in ahead of Lautaro Martinez. It was very, very ping-pong football in our box there. It was block after block after block, tackle after tackle. Eventually it falls to Diego Jota, who gets very lucky that the ball ends up at the back of his feet. Look at that, he has 2 shots. Eventually the third one ends up on his stronger right foot. He scores his first goal in the Carabao Cup. And maybe we'll have just put Wolves through and knocked us out at the Carabao Cup. Not sure whether we're going to be able to bring this back, but we're certainly going to try. Here's Lautaro. Play it through now. Lautaro Martinez was nearly on that one. We've got to win the header. Nicely done. Head it on. It's Armstrong. Going through now to Lautaro Martinez. Through on goal. Lautaro Martinez equalises. Wow. Great bit of football there. If we didn't win that header once, we wouldn't have got through on goal there. Nice little slip ball through from Che Adams through to Lautaro Martinez. The keeper probably should have come for that one. He probably would have beat me to the ball as well, but he doesn't. I'm pretty sure this game is now going to penalties. It is. The referee blows for full time after extra time. It's going to penalties. That is a little bit of a bummer. This game is going to penalties. It can go either way right now. Wolves, on stat-wise and paper, probably deserve to win this game, but we've managed to get it back to penalties. The question is now, oh, it's not going to penalties. We're knocked out of the Carabao Cup. I didn't realise that the Carabao Cup actually does bring in the away goal rule. Obviously, Wolves scored an away goal. We didn't score when we travelled to the Molineux Stadium. It ends 2-2, but because Wolves got that away goal, that header where we brought Angus Gunn out and unfortunately didn't get to the ball, because of away goals, Wolves knock us out. It doesn't even go to penalties. We had extra time, but Wolves win on away goals. Manchester United are through after beating Aston Villa at 4-3 on aggregate. That is unbelievable. The fact that Villa managed a 2-2 against United in the second leg anyway is unbelievable. We've done a job against Wolves. We did beat them 2-1 in the second leg, but unfortunately that away goal that they did score in the first leg really did matter in the end. And they unfortunately... they scored a home goal. We didn't score an away goal. We scored two home goals, but they scored an away goal. And Wolves go through to face off against Manchester United in the final of the Carabao Cup. Well, you know what? To get a place in the semi-finals and play as well as we did, I can't really complain. It wasn't our fault. It was a mistake caused by me bringing Angus Gunn bringing him out a goal in that first leg. If they hadn't scored that, we would have just won. But you know what? You win some, you lose some. Sadly, Wolverhampton Wanderers do knock us out of the Carabao Cup. Well, up next, we've got Bournemouth in the round 4 of the Emirates FA Cup. We certainly, at the start of this episode, were not expecting this game. It was kind of thrown in there, sprung upon us, and I suppose we've just got to deal with it. Unfortunately, today's episode hasn't gone exactly as planned. I was hopeful that we would get through at least to the final of the Carabao Cup. We've got a chance in the FA Cup. I suppose if we were to get to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, I suppose that's still great. We've got to remember that we are Southampton. We are a mid-table finishing team. They don't really get very far in the FA Cup. They don't really get far in the Carabao Cup. So to get to the semi-finals or even the quarter-finals of either of these competitions is absolutely unbelievable. I suppose it's a step in the right direction. Me as the manager, I've come in and done my absolute utmost best in all the competitions. We're doing absolutely unbelievable in the Premier League right now. But I'm just hoping we can potentially get through to the next stages of the FA Cup after knocking out Bournemouth. It's not going to be an easy game. Bournemouth are a very, very good team. They're doing very well in the Premier League in this current save. So we've just got to get into it and hopefully get through to the next round of the FA Cup. With this lineup, we've had to rotate it quite a lot. You can see Obafemi and Ings up top over Che Adams and Lautaro Martinez. Unfortunately, they're both not fully fit. I've rotated the team as much as I can to make sure there's fitness throughout the team. I don't want to risk any more injuries. Obviously, in today's episode, we've had Romeo put out now, unfortunately, for 3 months, which is going to be a massive hit to the team. But apart from Armstrong, El Yunusi and Genepo, the team doesn't look too bad. We're going with Danny Ings and Obafemi up top in the striker positions. El Yunusi, Armstrong, Lamina and Genepo in the midfield, with Bertrand, Stevens, Danso and Mailer at the back, with, of course, Angus Gunn between the sticks. Let's go ahead and get into this game against Bournemouth. I am a little bit concerned, to be honest, guys. I'm a little bit worried that we won't get the result that we want as we travel to Bournemouth. I'm going to play my heart out. I'm going to hope that it's an exciting one. I'm going to hope there's plenty of highlights for you guys at home. But I suppose we'll have to work out in 90 minutes' time whether we played good enough and managed to bag ourselves a place in the next stages of the FA Cup. Well, I'm pretty sure after getting knocked out at the Carabao Cup by Wolves, the lads' heads are definitely going to have dropped. I mean, we've had some incredible results that have put us on a massive high. We've beat Chelsea, we've beat Man City twice. The second time Man City come up against us when they were at the St Mary's Stadium, we absolutely killed them off. But I'm thinking the morale around this team right now after getting knocked out of the Carabao Cup is going to be very low. I think it's going to be a challenge. We know they've got some unbelievable players. Bournemouth, Fraser, Wilson, King, It is going to be a difficult one with their front three. But I'm going to keep faith in the team. I'm going to hope that we're going to do over Bournemouth. As Wilson kicks us off in his first half period, let's get it underway. And let's get down to business. Still over Femi. Playing it back now to Armstrong. Laying it off now to Mario Lamina, who gets a shot off. Begovic with a big save. And it's our first decent chance coming in the 13th minute. Begovic had to pull off a save. Lamina through, takes a deflection in off the defender. Here's Genepo dancing in. Obafemi. Armstrong. Obafemi. Laying it off now to Mario Lamina, who takes it onto his right foot. Let's fly. Begovic was there. Danny Ings is there to follow up. Danny Ings puts us 1-0 up. Danny Ings, the man in form right now. He certainly wasn't at the start of this season. He's certainly back to his scoring ways now. It was a great save there from Begovic, who denies Lamina. Danny Ings, right place, right time. Just head that one up. Begovic tried to get up and get to it. Danny Ings was there with a looping header. And he heads it into the back of the net. We are currently 1-0 up against Bournemouth. It's Fraser. Ball coming down to Fraser now. Let's go, Melee. You've got to catch up, son. Let's go, Dancer. You should be all over that one, son. Nice ball back there to Angus Gump. Let's play it out from the back. And as we play it to Melee, nice and calm from Dancer, Melee, and Angus Gump between the sticks. Nice little passing out from the back. The referee has now blown his half-time whistle. We're going in with the 1-0 lead, which is great so far. But as for highlights and actual me controlling the players, we're playing very poor. I'm hoping we're going to be able to up our game in the second half with Danny Ings kicking us off. We need to find a second goal. Danny Ings coming forward. Still Ings coming down. Nicely, let's play it over now to Armstrong. Armstrong looking to release El Yunusi in behind. It's off the post. It's 2-0. Well, that's a lot better start in the second half than it was in the first, that's for sure. We certainly, although we were 1-0 up in the first half, we didn't have many highlights, we didn't have many shots. Lovely bit of football here from the Saints, getting it over to El Yunusi, who puts it on target. Begovic actually got a hand to it. I didn't realise he got a hand to it, but he only hands it onto the post and then sadly into the back of the net for Bournemouth. We are 2-0 up. And if we find a third, we should hopefully put this game to bed now. Don't think that's going to be a problem. Here comes Clive Lewis now. We're going to have to slide in, try and get there. Wilson's there. Gone with an absolutely massive save there. Absolutely massive. Ball comes into the middle. Danso was there. It was lucky Danso was there, really. Bournemouth corner. They're going short. Now they're going to put a ball into Wilson. It's a great goal. Callum Wilson, the danger man in the box, with an unbelievable goal.
I think there's been a bit of practice gone into this corner.
That was great, near post.
Boy, did it come off.
Look at this, runs in, near post, just flicks it on. Near post, great goal. Take about Callum Wilson, what an unbelievable goal. It's 2-1. Ball down now is Anthony. Oh, look at this, surely he's going to be offside here. Says he's not going to be offside. Ball into Fraser. No!
It's an offside decision.
Well, the players can't believe
it's offside.
Thought
that was in. Well, we are playing poorly now. The team's had enough. Ball in. Oh yeah, miles offside. In the last dying embers of this game, let's clear it out. If we can win this header potentially. Chadham's there. Boost it up, Reed. Just get rid of the ball. Surely as Begovic catches this one. Yes! It's those type of games there, ladies and gentlemen, where you've really got to dig deep. You've really got to settle the nerves, and you've just got to play a lot of possession. We went 2-0 up. Once Bournemouth scored with Callum Wilson, they seriously became a pain for us. They were trying to attack down the wings. We had to dig deep in that game. That was a difficult game against Bournemouth. Thought it was going to be a lot easier once we went 2-0 up, but that just wasn't the case. Stat-wise and on paper, we do deserve to win. 8 shots, 4 on target. They had 6 shots, 2 on target. We were better on paper. Stuart Armstrong picks up man of the match with an 8.6 rating. We do manage to get through to the next stage of the FA Cup. It wasn't easy. They did score to take it to 2-2. It was offside from Callum Wilson. We could have easily been going to extra time there. That would have been an absolute pain in our bum. But luckily enough, we hold on. We ride the wave, and we do manage to beat Bournemouth 2-1 and knock them out of the FA Cup. Right guys, and here we are back at the Central for the final time in today's episode. Now advanced all the way to the first game in the next episode, which is going to be against Crystal Palace in the Premier League at St Mary's Stadium. We're at home, so I'm looking forward to that. Liverpool end today's episode top of the Premier League. They are 1 point ahead of Spurs, but do have a game in hand. We are only 3 points behind Liverpool on the same points. So we're doing very, very well right now. Manchester United have come out of nowhere. Crystal Palace were in the top 6 before. Now United are in there. City seem to be moving up as well and starting to win their games. So realistically, it's anyone's right now. But it is going to be a fight, I think, for especially second, third and fourth. I think if Spurs win their 23rd game and continue their winning ways, it's going to be very difficult for any team to catch Spurs. And I think there's only us and Liverpool that have got any decent chance of doing so. But at the start of the season, we said if we were to finish between 14th and 8th, we'd be happy with that. That's a mid-table finish. That's about right for Southampton. If I was to finish anywhere in the top 8, I would be absolutely over the moon. And if we finished in the top 4, well, that would just be absolutely unreal. And I'd be absolutely amazed that we managed to do that. But before we end today's episode, we do have 2 emails. We have Arsenal that have come in for Alex McCarthy. And we have Huddersfield that have come in for Fraser Forster. So what we're going to do is, before we end today's episode, we're actually going to go into negotiations over McCarthy, and we're going to try and get a little bit more money. This is Arsenal, so they should have it. So let's go ahead and negotiate this transfer fee with Arsenal. See if we can get him off the books. We'd then probably have to keep Fraser, because we wouldn't have a backup keeper, but we get a bit more funds. We potentially look at getting the Ox or even Dusan Tadic in the next episode. So they currently offer 6.2. Let's try 7.2. What are you saying about 7.2 there? Let's have a little look. 6.9. Okay, we're a little bit closer. Let's go with the 7.2 again. They've come up. I think they may well accept this 7.2 here. Deal. 7.2 mil. So we probably get 6 clear, which is a great step in the right direction considering we only need about an extra 15 million. So hopefully Alex McCarthy is now on his way to Arsenal. I don't know what to do with this situation here. I might just delegate it. Now let's negotiate. Let's do it. This is a good way to finish today's episode. I'm going to ask for something ridiculous here though. I'm going to ask for like 6 mil. Well, let's go that 5,750. What are we saying there? What are we saying? 3.9 sell-on clause. I don't want the sell-on clause, so remove the sell-on clause. I want 5.7. Give me 5.7 for him. We'll let him go. 5.7. No, that's fine with me because we're potentially about to offload one of our goalkeepers in Alex McCarthy to Arsenal anyway. So hopefully, if he goes in the next episode, it gives us another 6 million in the kitty, around 6 million. Plus puts 30.5k a week back in our pocket, which is what we need really. We need as much money back in our pocket as we can. So as we end today's episode, obviously I said to you guys earlier on, we looked over the squad hub. There's plenty of players that we could bring back that could potentially bring us some funds in. I can't remember the 2 players. Let me just go and have a little look to jog my memory and also jog your guys' memory. So we go down the list. So we have Jordi Classy. So this is the option, guys. We bring him back from Feyenoord and try and sell him. He's currently valued at 7. Yep, 7 million. And the other man is Boufal. We bring him back from Celta Vigo. I think it's Celta Vigo anyway. And we sell him for 13.5. Now, there's 20 million just on those 2 players. But for Classy, we'd look at getting 9. For Boufal, we'd look at getting 15. So we potentially have there like another 24 million coming in. We could look at doing something with that 24 million trying to get the Ox, and we could also then use the other money to try and get Dusan Tadic. Now, obviously, we have to get up to the 37.5 million in order to activate his release clause from Ajax. If we push a few more deals through before the end of the January transfer window, we may well just be able to do that. Currently sat on 23.5, so let's say another 6 coming in. That takes us up to 29. We sit then 8 million short, which isn't too bad. We may be able to play around with the wage budget as well. We've got another 30 grand coming back there. Depending on how much Dusan Tadic is on, which he's probably on 80, 90 grand, so we probably won't have much flexibility there. Regardless, we still might be able to bring him in if we manage to raise the funds. If not, Lallana was second, we can't get him. And then it was Mane, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Ramirez joint third, in which I get to pick, in which I would then bring Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in. So we should be bringing at least one player to the Saints in the very next episode, which I'm excited for, because I think a fresh player coming into the team will help us massively. But before we end today's episode, let's have a little look at what we've got in the next episode. So we've got Crystal Palace at home in the Premier League, then finishing off the January transfer window. We then move into the month of February, where currently we have Burnley in the Premier League away from home, Cardiff at home in the Premier League, and then Arsenal at home in the Arsenal away from home in the Premier League. So right now, I think we probably play Palace, simulate Burnley, simulate Cardiff, and play Arsenal. But I'm pretty sure an FA Cup game is going to get thrown in there, unless, the FA Cup next draw has not been drawn. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be one of them thrown in there somewhere. We also sadly knocked out of the Carabao Cup from today's episode after Wolves beat us. But we've still got a chance in the Premier League and also the FA Cup. But that is going to do it for today's episode, guys. And if you have enjoyed it, please do give it a big thumbs up for me. Don't forget to drop your comments down below. If you're new around here, click that subscribe button. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. And I've been MassiveBrad. Peace out.